This is Starting Point, a podcast that tracks Guyana's unprecedented growth from all vantage points. Join your hosts, Kiana Wilberg and Fariza Hanif, as they dive deep into the heart of topical issues.
Hi there. Welcome to this week's episode of Starting Point. I am your host, Kiana Wilberg, and I'm joined by host Fariza Hanif. Over the last 5 years, many of you, as well as international observers, would have seen the transformational infrastructural plan that has been unleashed by the PPP government. But what is in store for the 2025 to 2030 period? This is exactly what we intend to unpack on our discussion today, featuring the Honorable Minister of Public Works, Bishop Juan Edghill. Minister, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for taking the time to be here today.
And greetings to you and all your viewers. Happy to be here.
So, Minister, as I noted in my introduction, the last 5 years, we have witnessed a truly transformational infrastructural plan. But what, in your view, are some of the hallmarks or those infrastructural pieces which signal to the world that the government's plan for infrastructural transformation is unmatched and is what is needed to take Guyana into the 21st century?
Well, I guess most of your followers and viewers would probably expect me to start with the Barajagdio Demerara River Bridge or the Linden Mabura Road well, let me start with what really has made a difference in the lives of people. When the people from Crabwood Creek were able to come out of their yards and walk on a road to get to the main thoroughfares to go about their business, that is major, because some of them literally came out of the mud. The journey and the traversing there used to be knee-deep mud. You hold your shoes up in your hands. When you get out there, you wash your feet, put on your shoes, then you go to a clinic, you go to the post office, or you go to do your business. In all the grants in the Crabwood Creek area, we literally took people out of the mud. Let's go to hinterland communities where they're not attached to the grid, but the government was able to literally take 30,000 homes out of the dark by giving each home a PV system for household use. So just think about those things and how it has transformed people's lives and their livelihood. Let's talk about the people who come from Region 2 to do business in Georgetown. So they wake up at 3 a.m., get a 5 o'clock steamer that comes to Perica, and then if they were not finished by 12 noon to get back to Perica, to get the last steamer at 3 o'clock, they either have to find hoteling, inconvenience some family to stay with because they couldn't stay longer. We made a change and we added an extra route, an extra trip on the route per day that has transformed people's lives completely. You still come to town, you have a full day to do your business. And when you're finished doing your business, you could go and still get a ferry and get home back. And apart from adding the extra trips, some days we have moved from 3 originally to 4. And during the peak periods, we've done up to 6 trips per day. So think about how that is transforming people's lives. And then let's go to the communities along Region 2, Region 3, Region 4, Region 5, Region 6, Region 10. You see all these nice highways being built. But when you turn off the highway to go to your home, you need a street or a road that wouldn't damage your car, would not cause you to be at the mechanic shop to change your CVs and bend tires and all the rest of it. When we would have done work in every single local authority area, more than 5,000 engagements with contractors to deliver a fantastic community roads program. Think about how that has changed the lives of people. And then we go to Amerindian villages, where there are schools, hospitals, community ICT hubs, the school's feeding program, kitchen, the health center. In communities in the hinterland, when it's dry, it's dusty. And the children will be with dust in the classroom, in the clinic there is dust, in the kitchen there is dust. And when we would have gone across the country, and in the main thoroughfares in hinterland communities, we have either built asphaltic concrete roads or rigid pavement concrete roads. Not every road in the village is completed, but in the main center where the people congregate, whether for medical attention, educational purposes, meetings, and all the rest of it, the roads have been done, not just for them to drive on, but it was also an answer to the dust pollution, which was a major, major problem. Because when people are driving through those villages with the ATVs and the 4x4 pickups and the trucks, and the dust comes up, it goes somewhere. So I wanted to talk to you first about the things that are not so much sung. They might be considered small, but it is what has made significant impact in the lives of people. And while we're doing all that I just spoke about, we've been able to create a new cadre of contractors partnering with government to deliver development. So it was also about creating jobs. More than 30% of those contractors are women. So you're talking here about empowering women. Maybe 100% of those contractors, or just to be accurate, more than 98% of those contractors were getting work for the first time.
Wow.
And in an environment that facilitate them getting the work done, gaining experience, engaging with senior engineers and technicians to improve their skill so that we could continue to have that cadre of people available for the development of Guyana. So, yes, we have a big, major project, which is the admiration of so many people coming to Guyana, of the Barjagdio-Demerara River Bridge. People are admiring that. I was just in Belém last week and met with some of the ministers of the Brazilian government, and they were loud in praise of the reports that they were getting of the road construction from Linden to Mabura Hill and the bridges that were already completed along the alignment, and they were all looking forward for the completion of that road. And of course, I took the time to say to them, it's not just the building of the road, but we must also get a deep water harbor going to ensure that the road is serving the purpose of connectivity and bringing that great increase. So think about the 50,000 plus Guyanese who lost 4 or 5 hours daily in their daily commute to get to work and after work. With the completion of the new Demerara River Bridge, we have given back to the people their 5 hours. Some people have started to get to work so early they didn't know what to do because their lifestyle was getting across the bridge before 6 o'clock, and in 20 minutes you're at your
Yes, I
office.
was one of them.
You was one of them, and you didn't know what to do with your time. You needed to plant your kitchen garden. You need to do some homework with your kids. You needed to play with your sweetheart before you leave home, and still get to work with in a good frame of mind with your mental health, in good place to deliver services and to the people of Guyana. The convenience. When we opened the Busby Dam all the way down to Diamond Interlink, adding to what was already as the Heroes Highway, people coming off of the Linden-Soosdijk Highway, whether it's for the purpose of moving goods and merchandise or traveling, the reduction in travel time. And we just quite recently completed that 1.6 kilometers of road from the Diamond Bridge all the way to Good Success, which is now moving. The businesses in the area are singing the praises of the government. The people are singing the praises of the government. What used to take you 40 minutes to get through just the Grove area because of the traffic jam. Yeah. People could still park, access business and other services, and traffic is still flowing on a continual basis. Now, so it's not just about $150 million on the road here or $200 million on the road there. We in the government don't view development in terms of just the size of the project and how the money was spent.
It's about impact.
Yes. How it has improved the lives of people. And I can simply say to you today, without the fear of contradiction, even opposition politicians will have to admit, because they are beneficiaries, the infrastructural development program of the President Ali's first term has transformed the lives of Guyanese everywhere. Hinterland, urban centers, coastland, Amerindian communities. The interventions that were made have significantly improved people's lives and livelihood. And it's just where I want to start a discussion about it. This is the impact. How many people benefited?
It's a good starting point for us, as our show is called. And I'm happy that you spent some time to sort of provide that overview of how the government's infrastructural plan is not just centralized in Georgetown, but it's also being migrated to other parts of the country to ensure that everyone benefits, everyone is included in the road to transformation on this express train that we're on to transformation. So thank you for providing that very comprehensive overview there.
And in staying on the theme of transformation, we've seen some aspects of the President's plan to transform Georgetown already being implemented. What role is your ministry playing in that plan, and what are some of the priority areas you would say you need to focus on now?
Well, the transformation of Georgetown started the first day the president entered into office in 2020. Mm-hmm. And what is happening now in his second term is moving that to the next level. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how we transformed Georgetown. The place where every Guyanese, sometime or the other, visits the seawalls. The transformation behind the Marriott Hotel into a lovely sand beach, which is holding high-end recreational activities. In collaboration with the First Lady, the Ministry of Public Works was able to do the entire stretch at the bandstand.
Yes.
You have seen how the whole seawall has been rearranged, beautified, made into safe space with security and presence of the police with free internet access. Just move across from the seawall and go to the national park, where there's a whole build out of the kids' fun park.
Yes.
Parents have a place to take their children for fun in a safe environment.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
The health conscious people who have to get their exercises done, and I would hope that would be all of us and all Guyanese to keep ourselves healthy.
Definitely.
The entire circuit of the national park was repaved, putting in lights, so even if you get caught there walking after 6 o'clock when it's dark, safety is there. Move across the Independence Boulevard, and while everybody goes to the seawall, Independence Boulevard was a garbage dump, a stink environment. The market is out there. It was in a mess, chaos, junk dumped, old tires, vendors repairing motorcycles and everything else. President Ali, with a vision for bringing development to all communities, we went to that area, spoke with the people. In Independence Boulevard is the end result. It was described by people. We're in Brooklyn. I'm sure you would have seen that. Put in the necessary things to provide it as a safe green space. And I've gone to Independence Boulevard on a weekend. It is as busy as the seawalls because people have a place. It has brought value to a neighborhood that was just not too long ago considered mean going there.
Correct.
There is the bad boys. There is the criminal in the back there. That's not a place a guy needs to hang out. And then you could go over to East Rungveld, whether it's front circle or back circle. Tarmac areas for the youths to play. They're running competitions now in their own community. West Rungveld, going to Northeast Le Penitence. Tarmacs that are built, communities are out there engaging, and these tarmacs were built either in places where there was just swamp, mosquito infestation, and bush. The drainage network have constantly been maintained. Of course, in this new term, President Ali has made it clear that we want to be able to move to the next level now of concreting the drains and possibly covering them for parking, and that's a discussion to be had at another time. But let's just look at what have been done. When you move across Georgetown, accessibility has been significantly improved. When you're coming into town, you either had to come down to Vicinton Road, or you had to go all the way to Camp Street, or all the way to Main Street. With the development of the Lemaha corridor, the expansion, of course, with the development of the whole park and walkway, you can get all the way across to Sherry Street. And now you could get a direct connection to Conversation Tree. The entire Conversation Tree Road has been improved to 4 lanes. We're now continuing that all the way to Francois Avenue. People who went to Guy Expo for the first time was able to get in and get out with any major traffic jam and confusion because we have alternatives. So the development of Conversation Tree, the development and expansion of Lemaha Street. Right now, we are doing Princess Street.
Okay.
Not only are we doing Princess Street, we're doing Sussex Street. And we are also creating a new artery for Sussex Street. Sussex Street used to come all the way to the Cemetery Road. But now we are moving Sussex Street beyond the Cemetery Road all the way out to Mandela Avenue. Aubrey Barker has already been converted into a 4-lane road to deal with the traffic congestion at the back. Aubrey Barker will connect directly now with the new Ogle Eccles interlink, which is the new road that was built by the Indian company Ashoka. So when you look at the kind of connectivity, I remember people laughing at us and making fun of us on Facebook in 2020, early 2021, when we did Hunter Street.
Yes.
And we used all of the available space in Hunter Street. And so we have 3 lanes. So in the mornings, when there's the traffic congestions, you have 2 lanes going into the city and 1 lane coming out. In the afternoon, when the people are trying to get home, you have 2 lanes heading out of the city and 1 lane heading, and people make a big joke about it. But Hunter Street is one of the most used arteries right now. You remember the stories of the Cemetery Road and how the Jumbie chased the people
contractors waited
and
in
all
their
the rest
work.
of it.
Yes.
And people made fun of what was going on there. The bottom line is, after all the newspaper articles and all the reporting, Cemetery Road is a 4-lane road that an enormous amount of people use every single day to ease traffic congestion and get to their destination
Yeah.
safely and on time.
Yeah. In and out of the city, like.
In and out of the city like this. So Georgetown has been going through massive transformation, whether it's geometric improvements in roads, the silting of drains, which we have done every year since we are in office. And a lot of the desilting of the drains were done by residents of the various communities. Some of them were contracted as contractors, others, excuse me, organized themselves into community development councils, and they engaged. And along with what the Ministry of Public Works was doing, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority was doing the main canals and the drains, the primary drainage canals that leads to the outfalls or leads to the pump, while the Ministry of Public Works were working with the people in the internal secondary drains. Look at what's happening in the cemetery. The cemetery had become an embarrassment to all of us in Guyana.
Yeah.
It was almost like a forest. People couldn't get access to the tombs or gravesite of their loved ones. We have built the roads, the culverts in one section, and if you pass there right now, you see that the bushing has started.
Yes.
With funds becoming available, we'll go over the other side, put in the roads, put in the culverts, drain the cemetery, and start doing the bushing. Georgetown will look different. In the past, before we came to office, potholes on streets were a thing that you could anticipate everywhere you go. The road maintenance in Georgetown has been so aggressive that people are complaining about too much work being done because they have to make a diversion. All the roads in Agricola have been done over. All of the roads in East Runkveldt, West Runkveldt have been done over. I'm talking about by our maintenance crew. All the roads in Lodge, Wortmanville, Working-Russ, Albistown. All the roads in Durban Backlands, in Meadowbrook, in Tugville, in Kitty, in Camberville, in Kingston, Albertown. Where are the potholes now? Of course, once we're having rain and they have little cracks, things develop. But they're not there forever. We are right now in a program that is so aggressive that we get things done quickly. If you go down Brick Dam right now, you would recognize that it is failing in various sections, and that has to do with the volume and the heavy trucks that are going through there. And a contract has been awarded for the fixing of Brick Dam. Church Street is being addressed. North Road is being addressed. Thomas Lands, you see we are making the expansion in Thomas Lands from Cam Street all the way to Vicinjan Road. That part of Vicinjan Road is getting ready soon to be paved, and then the difference between Queen's College and Cam Street will be undertaken. It's part of the same contract, but you have to keep the roads open so that while you're working, people still have access to the
Correct.
schools, to the other facilities in the area. So you have to work in a strategic way. Look at what is happening at Carifest Avenue. Carifest Avenue was made into a narrow space by putting in a median under the previous administration, and it was hell to get through there in the morning.
Yeah.
We are expanding Carifesta Avenue on both sides, both the northern lane and the southern lane. Work is ongoing. As a matter of fact, people are actually parking on the unfinished sections right now to attend their
I see that.
to attend their activities. Now, and all that I'm talking about is not incidental. This is not happenstance. The interventions in the city are intentional. Georgetown, the capital city, Georgetown, the home for Guyana. When people come to Guyana, the first place they reach is Georgetown. Before they reach Georgetown, the other places you consider the first is the airport. And you've seen the massive transformation of what we would have done at the airport.
Absolutely.
So that's a conversation all by itself.
Correct.
But taking care of the trees, planting new trees, beautifying the alleyways, cleaning the gutters, ensuring the avenues are well maintained, providing for adequate parking, moving the garbage out. And there's a city hall. There is a city council. And a lot of what President Ali and the PPPC government has been doing in Georgetown should have been done by the city hall if they had a vision, if they had a plan. And that is why it is now important for citizens of Georgetown to wake up and recognize we might need to have a change of administration at City Hall. And I would hope that the people of Guyana would recognize we have to make that change, and let's get the progress going in Guyana. And let's work with President Ali to get Georgetown moving again. So the beautiful thing about what is happening is that there was once upon a time in a village like Sophia, nobody wanted to go and live. Now people are paying rentals in Sophia for $100,000, $150,000 because all the roads in Sophia are done. The lights are working, the bridges are working. B Field, which is the main hub heading north to south, is under construction. And we are looking at making Dennis Street into 4 lanes.
Oh, nice.
And expanding the bridge there, because people coming off the East Coast use the alternative route of coming down UG Road
and
come all the way down to Dennis Street. Because
Correct.
remember, we fixed that entire thoroughfare from the gate of the University of Guyana all the way down to the Red Shop. That's a beautiful road that was done. So people are not waiting to go all the way around. They're just turning off, coming down through UG Road, get Dennis Street to get into the
And
city.
there's also the housing, the Cummings Lodge housing scheme. Right, so people use the Sophia Road to get in there too.
So when you look at Georgetown, everything is not done. The market still needs to be fixed. We still have dilapidated buildings that needs to be properly addressed, I guess, by household homeowners or property owners and or City Hall, because where you have lands that are filled with bush, City Hall under there, 2801, can clean the land and charge it as rates and taxes to the property owner. And if they're not paying up, then you could actually sell the home City Hall could sell the home or the property to recover their expenditure.
Right.
But that's the law. But they're not doing that. You, President Ali, would have initiated a task force since 2020 that we would have done more than 12 national cleanup campaigns. We have actually gone to sections of Georgetown, pick up all the garbage, clean it up, fence it around to stop people from dumping. Of course, some people went back. We went back again, picking up the derelict vehicles, because this is a madness that is in our country right now. People have a crash car and they put it there, they take off all the wheels, they take out all the spare parts, and they leave it right there. Bushes going through it is a danger for security. Vagrants and everybody else hanging out in there, pouncing upon people in the dark of night. Those are things that City Hall should be doing. So every time President Ali talks about reviving Georgetown, doing good for Georgetown, improving Georgetown, Guyanese people must say, thank you, Mr. President. And it's time the Guyanese people also say, President, make sure you have a good team to take over City Hall, run it, and maintain what you're doing. Because if they're not doing it, there's no commitment from them to maintain it.
Correct.
So I think people need to work with President Ali to get a team to watch what's going on in Georgetown. But you all have friends and family who come from overseas, and you hear the wow. When you take them out, you hear the wow. When they go out and they see the new hotels, the new spots for dinner, the new entertainment centers, the calm with which the city is functioning, and the security that people feel because of the smart city solutions that are out there, safe city solutions, people feel safer. And there's like, wow.
So clearly, the transformation of And I'm happy that you made that point, because even though the messaging is now being framed to say this is what the government intends to do to rescue Georgetown, much of the preparatory work was done since
So
2020.
since 2020, since 2020, President Ali came in with a clear vision of transforming Guyana, and Georgetown was center.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's now clear that this was not an afterthought. This was not something that's okay. The president just wants to put this as part of his legacy for his second term. This was already conceived, implemented since first term.
First term, let's talk first term. Let's go to Lemahart Street. You remember what Lemahart Street used to look like?
Yes.
Where we have that entire well done over food court, where we had the fashion show. What was it called? The runway or something like that.
Fashion runway.
Well, I don't remember the exact.
Something to that extent.
Where thousands of people converged in an atmosphere that, wow, it was a wow factor. This is the old train line, and that is not something that was just done. The president spoke to us about that very early in his term. That is why there's an engagement with the King's Foundation. The president has an engagement with the King's Foundation for the modernization of sections. In my own zeal as the minister and cleaning up the place and so on, I went to Water Street, where they had these old zinc and real terrible-looking buildings that some fell under the transport and harbors and so on for us to clean up the place. And then I got a call from the president that says, hey, I know what you're doing, but don't touch that one. That one, I have a deal. I want to do something there. Now, we want to protect the old, which is part of our history, but we must also elevate it, because in that building there are some artifacts that are so precious you don't want to touch. You can get the old train that some of the kids don't even know. I'm sure you never traveled in a train in Guyana. There was nowhere around. Yeah.
No.
My godfather was a train master, so I got a chance to travel with him and so on.
Nice.
Smokey Joe and so on. You guys don't know that.
No.
But that is part of the modernization, because we also have to look at mass transit options in Georgetown, and that's something that is ongoing in terms of our conversation and looking at ways and means mass transit.
But Minister, as you talk about, I'm glad that you mentioned that point, because one of the things we also wanted to get from you is, and I know that our audience really appreciated the detail that you went into regarding the work being done in Georgetown, but on a broader level, what are some of the priority projects for the next 5 years? What can you insights can you share
for Georgetown?
us? No, for the entire country.
Oh, for the entire country. Priority
Yes.
projects. Number one,
Yes.
a similar bridge across the Berbice River that was built across the Demerara River. We have already gone out to tender. We already have the proposals. Those proposals have already been evaluated. There is a preferred bidder that has been identified, and there's a negotiation team that is negotiating the final contract. I would expect that we should be able to get closure to those negotiations and the contract signed before the end of this year. So that's going to be major
Fantastic.
for the Berbice area. Linked to that bridge is the whole Palmyra development, housing, stadium, Deepwater Harbor, new gas pipeline coming in, municipal airport. Do I need to go on?
No, I think
A cultural market.
I think that's really some good insight that you gave us here into the big projects.
So linking that bridge
Yeah.
is what I just spoke about. And right now from Palmyra all the way out to Molson Creek is being converted into a 4-lane road. From Palmyra to Molson Creek, 4 lanes. And that is to connect with the bridge across the Corentyne River, which is a government-to-government arrangement with Suriname. And you would have seen His Excellency the President engaging the new President of Suriname. So as soon as we could get things finalized in the two young administrations, because President Ali has been returned less than 100 days now, and the Surinamese is in young, and they had the conversations, we'd be able to get that going. Now, Essequibo, the Cinderella County, we have successfully executed hundreds of contracts of community roads in the Essequibo, taking care of all of that. But we still have a problem that we are fixing, and that is the road from Supernam to Charity. And in this term, we're going to make that road into a 4-lane road.
Okay.
4 lanes from Supernam to Charity. We are building out a new wharf at Charity to take care of what is going on in the Pomeroon, as well as the people who come over from Region 1 through Maruka to Charity. Supernam development, and where the speedboats are, you would have passed and seen the development of there, the tourist flavor to it, and the cleanliness and the operation. We are dealing with that. As it relates to the ferry service, we have already purchased 2 additional ferries. One that will run the Supernam route, Parika Supernam, and the other will run from Georgetown to Mabaruma in Region 1.
Okay.
Parika Port, an international port. We already have 3 contractors in place, and the work for that port has already started. And that is going to be a port that carries with it a marina for people who want to come to Guyana with their yachts. It's going to have several facilities to roll on, roll off. Ferries, it's going to be like in the design of a hand for various ferries that could dock. At the same time, it will host offices for customs, immigration, canoe, agriculture, processing and packaging, because it is from that Parika port that President Ali believes that a regional ferry will be able to work in taking our products to the rest of the Caribbean,
So
providing
it's a crucial ecosystem being
yes,
built out
yes,
there.
it's a whole fantastic arrangement that is happening there.
What was the timeline looking like? How soon could we
It will
see?
definitely be completed, every aspect of it, before 2030. But these contracts, which is the first phase of these contracts, these are like 18 months contracts that has already been signed and start working. So you'll see major development there. We are building, and President Ali has asked us, and we have a whole task force that both from the Public Works Ministry as well as support from engineers outside of the Public Works Ministry to look at how we could link the islands of the Essequibo using components of the Demerara Harbor, the old Demerara Harbor Bridge.
Right.
Sections of it is going to Sand Hill to make that crossing from Timiri to Sand Hill to deal with the road that we have built all the way to Falmouth so you could get into Bartica. So in 2 hours, once you leave Georgetown, you're in Bartica with a truckload of your fuel, your mining equipment. And this is what we're talking about, transforming people's lives, having to go and line up, wait on a boat, a boat taking 5 or 6 hours, and then you could only carry a limited amount of capacity because the boat could only take so many trucks.
Right.
So here we are creating alternatives. And of course, putting in place support, because a lot of what we are doing at the Ministry of Public Works, forget about how it's just mainly benefiting families, but it is also supporting industries and other sectors.
That's right.
Agriculture. When we have this kind of connectivity, you can move your cantaloupe pumpkin from Hubu and go all the way into Suriname.
With ease.
Sell your pumpkin and come back home, give your wife the money, and then you could go online in the night. You notice I said the women are smart, give the wife the money, so you wouldn't drink it out. The Guyanese who wants to do business with a wider world have access to a 20 million persons market in northern Brazil because of the road that and the bridges that have been built. you're opening up Guyana to the world. Guyana will serve as a hub that links the Caribbean with South America. So whether you're going to the Caribbean, you're going to the South America, Guyana is the place. It'll be putting in that infrastructure. But tourism is also a main sector that we're developing. And tourism is a sector that provides jobs more than many other sectors. So once you get the hotels, you get the eco lodges, you get everything in place, it's real employment for Guyanese people. And that's why we have to develop the hinterland airstrips so people could get out there and get back in the hinterland roads. And the facilities that where people have to wait. So the last understanding that we have from the president is that all of the hinterland airstrips must not only be improved, but we must put in place facilities, waiting areas, washroom facilities. If the rain comes down, you are not to be left to the elements, because, you know, we got to improve our tourism potential. So we're supporting tourism, supporting agriculture, building the roads. Industrial areas are going to be opened up and developed. The whole Wales Development Authority and what's going to go on at the back of Wales. That's why we're doing the road from the bridge all the way out to Potentia, creating the new bridge at Stanleytown, which was the one that was collapsed under the weight of the traffic. It wasn't built to take that volume and that continuous traffic. We're putting in the new infrastructure, opening up that area. When the road from the Schoonard all the way into Parika, the 4-lane road is completed, which is actively being pursued right now. We have several contractors who are building out the bridges and getting the access in so we could see, and you would have seen in the papers that they actually went out for tender for people to deal with the road. So that is going to open up new lands for housing.
So massive projects are in the pipeline for Guyana 2025.
It's more than in the pipeline. It's just been
2030.
unfolded. It's just been unfolded. It's been in the pipeline, yes, but these are not things that's still in the pipeline. Because I somehow think when people say it's in the pipeline,
It hasn't happened yet.
It's a plan. They're thinking about it. We have gone past the pipeline. Oil is flowing in the pipeline, so to speak. Things are happening.
Yeah.
It might not be obvious to everybody because they're not traveling those routes, and a lot of it you're not seeing every day. But when it comes together and the connections are made, it says, wow, it's going to be the wow factor. Because people didn't know that was happening in the bush. That's happening at the back there.
Right.
That people see where they get caught in traffic on the East Coast for a couple of hours and they complain. These people ain't know what they're doing. The Chinese holding up the place. They see that for a couple of days. But when the whole thing is opened up, you know what's going to happen on the East Coast? You're going to have 4 lanes on the regular East Coast Road.
Yeah.
You're going to have 4 lanes on the railway embankment. And all the way out to Enmore, you're going to have 4 lanes with a continuation of Aubrey Barker.
Okay.
So you could imagine 12 lanes of traffic being available to people in the next couple of years. This one on the railway embankment should be closed up within a year or so, and Aubrey Barker continuing all the way down. So you got 12 lanes of traffic. Then let's look at the East Bank. We're improving the East Bank Road, that you know is the road to the airport. We're going to the airport as your airport road. Then you got Heroes Highway that is continuing all the way down because we are going to get across the Linden Sioux Lake Highway, which is what people call the concrete road.
Yeah.
The Ogle Eccles interlink, we have started moving that from Eccles to Providence, with an intention of moving it all the way out to the highway. So people who are moving sand and loom and aggregate to the East Coast don't have to come around all the rest of it. There's going to, so you have 12 lanes on the East Bank. You've got several lanes on the East Coast. It's going to just be fantastic.
So it's a massive road network that's being built out.
Yes.
Some of it already built out. One of the challenges is the trucks and the weight. And you have introduced weigh-in motion scales to deal with that. How has that trial period been, and how is it working out with the trucks?
Well, I can tell you, it's working better than I anticipated. I thought we would have had some pushback from the truckers and the owners of the trucks, but it's always a beautiful thing when you engage people in conversation and they understand. And one of the things that has made it so successful is that the owners of the loom pits, or the operators of the loom pits, the sand pits, the stone quarries and all the rest of it, have agreed with us that the truck's not going to leave their premises overladen.
Okay.
So they're going to fix it, help to fix the weight situation at the
Site itself.
the site itself. Your truck was made to carry 30 tons, and you're not going to leave here with 45 and 50. Because, some of the truckers were building up the sides and raising up the walls so they could get more in. What we have to work with now is the paddy farmers, because, we build the roads in Cane Grove, Myconey Branch Road, the Abari Road, and we have these huge trailers with walls as high as the heavens. So we got to engage them. But so for this period, while we're actually doing the way, and there's already been adjustment and compliance, and I think I would want to use this opportunity to say I applaud the reasonableness of the Guyanese people, and they understand the real issues. We have procured 20 other scales. So the rollout of weighing is not going to just be in some areas. With the 20, we'll be able to take on some of the other regions, help to preserve the roads. Because, sometimes the barge goes in with the stone in a region, let's say for like region 2, and the barge wants to finish emptying off real quick. So a 30-ton truck will end up carrying 50 tons, and then you break a bridge while you're passing, you break a road, you create a bulge. So we have another 20 scales that are going to be in before the end of the year, and we have 1,000 clamps for the trucks. Because if you're caught with overweight, and we say pay a fine, that don't solve the problem.
Right. They pay the
Because
fine and they go again.
Every time you move from that spot with that overweight, you're going to break a bridge. The people on the East Coast who are complaining about the traffic, I don't think they appreciate what has happened. The trucks have destroyed and mangled all the aquapanel bridges on the East Coast. Was what you call the steel bridges with the steel decking. They have mangled it. You should see how these things. We had to close off those bridges. The plan was always to move it from aquapanel to concrete. But while the contractors are waiting to get to the construction of the concrete bridges and the traffic, 2, 3 at a time. Because the same truck that breaks the one at Better Hope is going to break the one at Monrepo, and it's going to break the one at Montrose, because it means you can't handle that weight. So once you allow the truck to continue to move, you're creating damages. So while we're improving designs to have a better quality road, I should say this to you, the regulation right now is 8.2 tons per axle.
It moved from 15 tons?
No, we're now putting in 15 tons. It was 8.2. And if we had gone out with that exercise, with 8.2 tons, you would have shut down economic activity in the country. No trucker would have been able to operate.
Correct.
But that's the regulation before we brought it to 15 tons. So there has been good cooperation. Of course, you're going to always have the loose cannons.
Yes.
So there are 3 areas that we want better cooperation in. Is with the truckers, and we have engaged the truckers, we have engaged the owners, we have engaged contractors, we have engaged suppliers. The other area of engagement that I think we need to do to create a safer and a aesthetically pleasing environment is the tire shops and the mechanic shops and the body spray shops, because
It's out of hand.
the tires are literally on the road. The cars that they're fixing and spraying is on the road. and that sometimes create congestion. You can't get
Yep.
through. And it's an ongoing conversation. And we have been moving derelicts. We have been talking to people, and we have to continue to do it. But government don't want to just drive around and pick up people's vehicles and have to carry it to a dump site and so on. That's the last thing a government want to do. We want to have responsible citizens. We want to be able to have people who understand Guyana, so all Guyanese. If you have a vehicle to dump because it's in bad shape, just like how you get a crash truck to pull it from the site of the accident to your premises, there is a truck that could move it from there to the derelict site.
Indeed.
And we have to be able to get people into that mode. Let's do this together. So it mustn't be government as the big, strong hammer coming down on everybody and so on.
But how do these scales work at the new Harbor Bridge? At the old bridge, we had an actual scale there. You
Yes.
go on, you weigh the trucks weigh, and if they're overweight, they turn around and they go back. But once you get on that road to get to the Barajagder Bridge, you can't turn around.
You stay there.
Right. So you weigh.
You stay there.
Okay, so what happens? What's the plan?
When you're traveling overseas and your suitcase is overweight, at the check-in counter, what do you have to do?
You have to offload?
Thank you very much, ma'am. And the message is clear.
Okay.
That's right, Bishop.
So they weigh, a scale is there for them to weigh before they go on the bridge?
We have a scale at the bridge that we've been randomly checking. But long before you reach the bridge, we got scales. So if you know you're heading over, you make sure at the sand pit, the guys with the machines know how many cubic yards of loam or sand could fit in a bucket. And they know the weight of so many cubic yards. The only difference might be when the rain falls as against when it's dry.
Correct.
Because with the moisture, it becomes
It's
heavier.
So clearly, if you're taking that overweight to the bridge, it's just high pass.
You know what you got to do before you get to the bridge.
But who monitors them at the bridge?
So who monitors them at the bridge?
Yeah.
Oh,
So if there's a truck that's overloaded.
We have people who are doing that.
Okay.
And I can tell you, all the way in the bush with nobody in seeing you, from the time you leave the quarry and you come out, you're going on the scale.
Okay, great.
You ain't coming down the road. You ain't coming down the highway like that. We got to work with the people in forestry. But, you know, those long trailers, they are more balanced because, remember, the weight is per axle. And you got vehicles that are having 3 axles, some are having 6 axles. And the point
Yes.
here is that the weight must be on the axle and not on the road. So these vehicles are made to put so much weight on the axle.
Right.
When you overload it, the weight is no longer on the axle. It is being transferred to the actual road. So it's when they stop and they're ready to drive off, that's when you see those bulges because they got to dig into the road to get the grip to go. And that's what was happening on the East Bank. You saw the waving on the Linden-Soesdijk Highway. We saw the damages that are taking place. Just go through Brick Dam right now and you will see what's happening.
Yeah.
The same thing happened at Thomas Lands. Because we had the opening of the Marion Academy, a lot of the trucks that used to come and take the car at First Avenue to head up the East Coast in the morning traffic, they started to go through Thomas Lands. And once they started going through Thomas Lands with that weight, you saw the damages. That's why we had to do emergency work, and then we had to get a contract to complete and be able to get that done. So I'm not going to say here exactly where the scales are because they are movable scales. So you might find a team here today, and then you see another team somewhere else. And we're just moving. So, but the point is, we have tested probably now by close to 2,000 trucks on their weight. And the truth about it, a lot of them, the majority is in compliance.
Nice.
The majority is not the reckless. The majority is in compliance. So that's good news for us. It means that we're going somewhere.
Indeed. Minister Edghill, you have clearly taken us to church today.
I want to take you there every day.
Clearly, there is a lot to unpack regarding the transformational agenda. I know that our audience has a number of takeaways from today's program, including the fact that it's not just investment in brick and mortar, it's creating opportunities for robust development, robust growth, and you have made it pellucid on why we're seeing the growth in the non-oil economy because it's buttressed by all of the transformation that's taking place. And you've also made it clear about what is the agenda for 2025 to 2030. There's so many other topics that we wanted to cover. We'll definitely need to have you back for a part 2.
Indeed.
Yes, but today's session was top tier. Thank you so much for sharing the insights today.
It was a pleasure having you.
Well, it was good to be here. We went to the people and we told them, put us in and we will serve you in 2020. And we were grateful that the Guyanese people thought of President Ali as his team as the best team to serve the Guyanese people. We went back to the people in 2025 and says, we did what we told you that we will do. Give us the next chance, and we will take it from this level to that level. We will continue to serve the people of Guyana in the manner we did it from 2020 to 2025, and we want to be able to do more. 2025 to 2030, and we're looking beyond 2030 because we got to build resilient infrastructure. We got to put things in place for generations to come. You know, we just can't do things to the now. It's not a quick fix. We're not about painting the bad wood and making it look good. We're about fixing it that it won't be bad again.
Indeed. And on that note, we say amen. Thank you so much once again, Minister, for joining us on the podcast. And to our audience, thank you for staying tuned. Be sure to follow us next week, same time, same place, as we bring you more insights on Guyana's transformational development from all vantage points.
Thanks for watching Starting Point. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for critical updates and exclusive content.